Oil is something I've been looking at, and barrel prices of oil right now, $18. That's really, it's unprecedented right now. It's quite low. Hello everybody, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
And welcome to the AM show.
Welcome. Today's date is April 17th. And we're going to give you a market recap of the week of April 12th. So first, we're going to take a look at the markets and some indexes over the week and give a little recap there. So let's just take a look at the Russell 2000, a index for small and mid-cap companies. They were down about 1.5% after a very, very strong rally last week. And then we have the S&P 500. They were up about 3.04% on the week, also a strong sign.
Yes, Alex, I was taking a look at the NASDAQ, and they were up a staggering 6.09% this week. They are headed by a lot of biotech and tech companies. We can see, this week has been very strong for biotech companies. We've seen some big moves, as anybody would think, with the coronavirus going on. Everybody's racing for that.
Racing for the cure, right?
Yeah, they're racing for the cure, yeah. But we have to continue to monitor and see what that's going to look like in the future.
Yeah, like you said earlier, we were talking, you said that you don't really want to act on that unless something's been confirmed. I agree with that. I think there's been a lot of up, and there's been a lot of down as well.
Yes, totally. Let's move into the Dow. It was up 2.21% this week. That's the one that everybody looks at.
Yeah, pretty strong movement.
Yeah, strong movement. That's good for the Dow, especially right now. We've seen some ups and downs, but overall, that's continuing to look promising.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at commodities and a few indicators there. So the first one that I noticed, the one I like to look at, gold, down about 3%. Could be bullish, could mean investors are taking their money from gold, maybe put it into some stocks, but you can't really tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alex, I've been looking at oil, and right now, barrel prices are at $18. That's something we haven't seen in about 2 decades. But there's some promising outlooks for oil right now.
Yeah.
The futures have it priced at about $25 a barrel, which that's something we can really look into going into next week. Some potential oil companies, anybody that has anything to do with oil, it could be very promising.
Another thing to note about oil companies and oil rigs is that the oil rig count has actually declined by another 73, which is not the greatest sign, but in times like this when oil prices are so low, there's no need to drill for oil. So
exactly,
it all makes sense.
There's a lot of conflicting news going on right now with oil. We've seen a lot of ups and a lot of downs. People are bullish, bearish. You can find anybody in between as well.
Absolutely, but that actually transitions us right into our biggest movers and losers. Mm-hmm. We have Marathon Petroleum. They were up 15.95% today. That's a pretty big jump, especially for an oil company who has been struggling, as we just said, with these oil prices.
Yes.
Another thing to note is Boeing. They're up 14.72% today, and that puts them about even on the week, about 1% up for the week.
And sorry to interrupt you here, but Boeing, something that is worth looking at, they are reopening their helicopter plants. There's one in Philadelphia they're going to be opening on April 20th. That could have had a big impact on why they made such a rally today.
That is big. Another company that I actually noticed as well was Procter & Gamble. They were up 8.8% this week, staying consistent with our narrative saying healthcare and tech's doing pretty well. They're excelling. And what I love about Procter & Gamble is they're just a very solid company, very sturdy, make a lot of products that we use in everyday life. So. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I've been seeing in the market, Alex. But I know you've been doing some hard research here. What have you been seeing?
So what I've found, what I've dug up is that 10% rallies often do not mark these ultimate lows that we're seeing. So yes, we have rebounded off the lows. Yes, we're seeing a market resurgence, but this is all part of the bottoming process. Statistics show that 13 out of 16 times there are drawdowns after these rallies. So what we're seeing right now, I wouldn't call it we're out of the park, right? This all is just a bottoming period. We will revisit these lows. We might not find these absolute lows that we had at the beginning of this crisis, but I do think we will have a pullback and there will be an opportunity to enter in the market. So just be patient and just wait for that. However, it is important to note that on the long-term scale, returns still look good, especially if you're buying at these prices. These prices are still a bargain. Companies still look great. So just keep that in mind. Returns looking 9 to 12 months out, they look very strong and they still look attractive. So don't be totally afraid of the market. Just be tentative.
Yes, patience. Patience is a virtue here, and we're going to continue to monitor, and we will let you know when we think is the right time to get into the market. We want to hear what your thoughts are as well on that.
So other news that we're seeing right now is that short term we are bullish. There is a lot of support from the federal government, and there's a lot of willingness to borrow and give breaks and give incentives to companies, consumers, all these people. So I think because of this cash and all, especially the stimulus check going around, there's a lot of money just flowing in the economy right now. So I think on the short term it's bullish, but we are going to pay for this in the future, in my opinion. The big stimulus check that we're seeing, I definitely think it could result in in some inflation. It's definitely going to result in the value of our money being devalued slightly. So these are things to note on a bigger scale for the economy that could affect companies and their ability to borrow and their ability to pay in the future. And overall, we're really just trying to fight off a recession.
Yeah.
If you look at the actions taken by our policymakers, we are fighting for our lives right now. That's what it feels like, at least. And you can see this because funding for small business loans has actually started to dry up. We're not seeing that availability of funds anymore, and that's scaring a lot of people. But just to wrap it all up, I think you shouldn't be afraid. I think it could be an opportunity for most people to invest, actually. So
I agree.
Just keep that in mind.
Yes.
All right, Mike. So how are we going to take all this news and take all this information and apply it and be able to choose companies this next week? And how are we going to be able to profit from this?
Yeah, so something that I've just noticed, and a lot of us have been noticing, is to start, the curve is starting to flatten. There's a lot of anxious people who are all cooped up. We're ready to get out and socialize with people. We're ready to make our way to the next step and move past this virus.
Yeah.
There's going to be less fear in the market as time continues to go on because time heals.
Absolutely.
And that's something that we've really seen in the past and we're going to continue to see in the future. We both have been extremely bullish on tech and healthcare, and we're going to continue to be looking into those sectors, and that is something that I feel like our viewers should also be looking hard into because we know that is something that in the long run is going to be able to weather this storm.
Yeah, we know that our sectors are very cyclical. So if you take a look at the two strongest performers, I think you'll find that those both boil down to tech and healthcare, both which are very prominent in this time. Think about it. Everybody is on their laptops, their phones, being cooped up inside, TV. We have our stay-at-home picks, such as Netflix. That's a great stock. Didn't even take a hit from all this. If anything, has actually benefited. So you really just got to take a look at what's happening in our current market and put that into play. So from what I noticed as well is that this next week, I think we could have some pullbacks. We could have some down days, which that could lead to some more attractive prices. And if we stay patient, I think we can find some entry points that we really like. And lastly, just to finish it off, biotech, man.
Yes.
If you like
risk lovers.
If you like taking a little gamble, and if you really want to, I guess, get a good bang for your buck, where you could see 100% gain, take a look at some biotechs, man. These guys are in the race for the cure. They're trying to find some COVID-19 drugs to be able to combat what's going on. And whoever does find it, they will probably have a pretty sizable stock price increase. So.
Yes, and Alex, I got a few that I'd like to share with our folks. Yeah.
All right, let's move into our bonus segment today. We're going to talk about some biotech companies that we find quite interesting.
So Alex, I got a few here that I've been keeping an eye on. The first one, BioCryst, stock ticker BCRX. You might want to give them a look. Next week could be making a big play. Another one that I like, Athersize, stock ticker ATHX. And my last one that I like, pretty strong company to begin with, Gilead Sciences, stock ticker GILD.
It's a big mover today as well.
Yes.
Up significant. So, but like we said before, biotechs have a lot of risk. They're not all just moving up. A lot of them are moving down as well. So just keep it in mind. Make sure you take a look at the financials and the fundamentals of it to make a sound decision. We'll get more into it on our next episode. But thank you everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah. And we are ready to roll.
We're ready to roll. Hey, like, leave your comments below,
Yes.
and subscribe. Thank you everybody.